Hi friends, it's Jessie here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. In today's video, we are going to be writing out my budget for the first week in July. And I know what you're thinking. Jessie, it's already the 7th of the month. Why are you just now writing out your first week's budget? And that is because I do not budget by month, I budget by paycheck. And the first income we are receiving in the month of July is the paycheck my husband received on July 6th. So all of the previous week's bills were paid with the last week in June, which you would have seen if you watched my June week 5 budget. So we are looking at the paycheck my husband received on July 6th. We are going to pay all of the bills that fall within this pay period, so between the 6th and the 12th. And we're just focusing on this week. We're not worrying about what's coming next week or at the end of the month. We budget paycheck to paycheck. So I'm going to be using my Budget Mom workbook here, my paycheck bill tracker for the first week in July. I was actually pretty excited because I was going to show you guys some printables that I have been working on. It's sort of a long story. I went in and I ordered a ton of stickers from Sarah Marie Stickers for August. And when I say a ton, I mean a ton. It was like $45 worth of stickers. And after I did that, I sort of gave myself a pretty strict talking to, like, Jessie, you cannot be spending $45 on stickers. It does not make sense to spend that kind of money to budget. That's like very counterintuitive. So I told myself I'm going to go back to making stickers for myself. Well, you guys, making stickers is so much fun, but it is a lot of work and it's a huge time commitment. In order to make all of the stickers that I wanted to make, it was going to take me hours worth of work. And you know, it's worth it to have really beautiful stickers. You guys have seen the stickers I've made for myself in the past. You've seen the stickers I've purchased from various shops. But I just don't have time for that. So what I decided to do was sit down and design myself some printables with some pretty patterns so that I could have the functionality of my budget sheets that I love to use while still having some really pretty designs. So what I actually started with were designs for September because I had already done, you know, July here in my budget planner. You guys can see my July setup. If you missed it, I will link it in a card above. And I knew I had purchased those stickers for August, so I went ahead and started with September. And actually, now that I think about it, I can show you guys a little sneak peek of what I came up with for my printables because I do have September in here. After I completed September and punched everything and put it into my planner, I realized how much I loved being able to customize the printables for my personal use. And so I went back and I created some for July. But then I went in on my own time while we were on vacation and tested out all of the printables and put in a bunch of personal information. So I can actually show you July. I went through with a bunch of sticky notes and covered everything up. I was actually going to print out fresh pages for July so I could flip through and show you. But right before I filmed this video, I went to boot up my computer to print those. My computer will not boot up. I'm trying not to panic about it. I just kind of plugged it in and walked away. It hasn't been used in a week because we've been on vacation, so I'm hoping the battery's just dead, but it would boot up for like 30 seconds and then shut back down. So I'm just letting it charge, trying not to think about it too much, trying not to panic. It is a pretty new computer. I purchased it back in January, I believe, so you know, it is what it is. We'll see what happens with that when I go to edit this video. But I couldn't print out fresh pages. That's the moral of the story. So what I did was I took what I love from using the stickers and setting up various budget pages in my Erin Condren monthly planner. And I took what I love from the Budget Mom printables and I combined them into my own printables that are perfect for me. They're customized and I'm loving them. So let me give you guys a quick sneak peek of what I've kind of been working on. They're still very much a work in progress. They're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm pretty excited about it. So this is September. Like I said, I started with September because I knew that I already had July and August squared away. So I created myself a calendar here and I was able to do what I absolutely love, which is start the week on a Tuesday. Since my husband gets paid on Tuesday, it makes sense to me to start with Tuesday. So I was able to do that. I was able to put in all of my paydays and all of my bills already printed ahead of time. So that's like one less step I have to take when I set up my calendar. All of this was designed from scratch. I went into actually my Silhouette studio and designed everything, and it worked out really great. I just saved everything as a PDF, printed it out, and it worked out wonderful. So then I created this September budget page where I can just put down, you know, a brief what I think September is going to look like. And I have a place for all of our income, all of our bills. And again, it's this really pretty pattern. So I get the look of all of those gorgeous stickers without having to pay the price for them, right? So then I have this page. This is sort of reminiscent of the Erin Condren dashboard page. I took the elements from that I like, having everything separated. I put in my own headers and everything, and I was able to make it look really cute, really functional, and really decorated, again, without the time commitment, which is important to me. So then I did a sinking funds and transaction log. Again, this is very reminiscent of what I was doing in my Erin Condren monthly. You can see in July, you know, this is exactly the same thing I was doing with stickers, only without having to do the stickers. So I did the sinking funds and transaction logs so that I can work on that. And then I did a paycheck bill tracker, which is, again, I took the elements from the Budget Mom that I liked, but I put my own spin on it. I changed this heading here to checking, since you guys know when I write out my budget, I do the everything I'm going to leave in my checking account in this area. I also made the sinking fund section a little bit bigger. I added the decorative elements that I love so much, and I put in a totals section, which I feel like for me, the Budget Mom was lacking. So I was able to, you know, take inspiration from that, but make it fit better for what I need it for. Then I did a cash breakdown, which coordinates, and I gave myself a little section to write in financial wins and any notes that I have. So that was pretty exciting. I also created myself a weekly spread so I can go in with stickers if I want, or just with ink and highlighters and plan out my week. I created myself my own little YouTube spread so I can keep track of all of my YouTube videos. And there were a ton of other printables I made as well. I did a transaction log that was sort of like a check register. I made a printable for my son Robert for his budget, and a bunch of other things, and it's just been really fun to play around with and to set up. And so I was really excited about using these pages with you today for July, but like I said, I couldn't print out fresh copies, so there's that. So I have my little calendar here. I went through with sticky notes to try to cover up everything that I kind of didn't want to share with the internet, but this is July. I did the fireworks, and again, it's all the same pages, just a little bit different. And this is like my rough draft for my paycheck budget, which we are going to do together today. So I apologize for that little interlude. I wanted to share that with you. I was excited about it. Plus, I've just missed chatting with you guys because I've been on vacation. So all of the videos you guys saw last week were pre-recorded. So I've just been in the mood to chit chat with you guys. But for now, we're going to go ahead and flip to the Budget Mom pages. Like I said, I love the way the Budget Mom has this set up, and I took a lot of inspiration from this, but I just made it my own. I made it function a little bit better for me. And the cool thing is if I change my budget system sometime in the future, I can change out my printables as well. So let me just go ahead and flip you guys around here a little bit and zoom you guys in, and we are going to talk about my husband's budget for July 6th. My husband's paycheck for July 6th. And this paycheck is a paycheck for the week that we were on vacation. And you guys know my husband works based on commission, so the way that they do vacation pay is a little bit different than your average like salaried employee, that sort of thing. So when we got our paycheck, it was actually a little bit less than I was kind of anticipating. That is sort of the risk you run when you work based on commission. You never really know how much you're going to bring in. And so you guys know we have a lot of kind of measures in place for when that happens. When the paycheck's low, I could pull money from savings. I have money that I roll over week to week. And we just sometimes finagle the budget to make it work. So that's what we've done this week. We've got a pretty bare bones budget. I would have loved to do a lot more, but you know, the paycheck dictates that. So we're going to go ahead and write in that this is paycheck number 1, but you guys know, if you are not new here, that I don't disclose my husband's income. He would prefer I not do that, so I don't. But just know we are working with paycheck number 1 here. We are also working with some rollover money, and we're working with some sinking funds. So all of that is where we're kind of getting the income to work for us for this pay period. So the first thing we're going to write in here is our bills and expenses that stay in our checking account. That's kind of why I changed this heading on my personal printables, because I write in this category more than just bills. It is our bills, but it's also anything that we are going to pay using our checking account. So we take a lot of our money out in cash to use, our cash envelopes, our sinking funds, stuff like that is all cash, but some things you just can't use cash for, right? So those things in my budget method stay here under this bills category. And I'm actually going to just pull my little paycheck bill tracker that I filled out here, my little rough draft, as a reference and set it off to the side. You guys won't see it, but that's what I'm referencing because I already did my rough draft budget using my printables. So if we look back at my little calendar, we can see that I have to pay Boost Mobile, which is our mobile phone provider, as well as our camper payment. And that's actually it for bills this week. There's usually a lot more bills here in this category or in this week, but I took all of my subscriptions, so Hulu, Netflix, Disney Plus, out of my main budget, and I made a sinking fund for it, and I'm paying that kind of separate. So I can go through that process maybe a little bit when I do my weekly budget results. I can show you guys my sinking fund log, wherever it is here, and talk about the sinking fund transactions. If you're interested in that, let me know. But for now, we are just focusing on those couple of bills and any other expenses that are going to be paid using our checking account. So first one, as I mentioned, is our camper payment. We have a camper. We just spent 10 glorious days at our camper. It was completely wonderful. We do make payments on that. We have it financed, and the amount that we have to budget for that is $200. That's our monthly payment. The other bill that we have to pay this week is our Boost Mobile bill. We have 4 lines of talk, text, data. We even have some hotspot capability. We pay $130 a month for those 4 lines. So that's what we are going to budget there. The only other thing that I have to put here under this bills category is our gas. So we do, as I said, use cash for a lot of things. But gasoline is just not one of them. I really like to be able to just swipe my card super easy peasy, especially like in the extreme weather, like the super hot of the summer, which we're in now, the super cold and snow of the winter. It's a pain in the you-know-what to run into the gas station and pay with cash. So we just leave our gas money in our checking account and we swipe our debit card, or we swipe a credit card and then use our checking account to pay that credit card, depending on our situation. We do use credit cards to reap the rewards of them, and we just use them and then pay them off. We do have some cards that carry a balance. Part of the reason we are doing these paycheck budgets every single week is to have money in our budget to pay extra to our credit cards, but we also still use them. We're not Dave Ramsey enthusiasts by any stretch of the imagination. We use some of his principles, but we are not anti-credit card. So, long story short, gasoline. For gas, we are going to up this budget to $50 this week. Gas prices just keep going up, and I don't want to be caught in a situation where I don't have enough gas money, so we're just going to up it a little bit to compensate for the rising prices. I'm going to take a little water break here because I have been talking so much. This video's gotten so long and I'm like parched. Not used to talking to you guys for so long. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is grab up my credit card. We're going to add these bill totals up. Like I said, it's not a whole heck of a lot. We're going pretty bare bones with this budget. So I've got my calculator here, which you guys cannot see at all. My apologies. I think that's better. $200 for our camper payment, plus $130 for boost, plus $50 in gas, for a bill total of $380. So that's what we are going to write here in this bill total. And then we're going to move on to cash envelopes. So for cash envelopes, we are filling quite a few this week. The first one being our food envelope. We recently made the switch to paying for our food in cash, and we also combined our grocery and eating out budget, which has been a game changer. So now if I want to spend more on groceries, I know that I cannot eat out as much, and if I want to eat out more, then I have to compensate and buy less groceries, which makes sense, right? If you're eating out a ton, you don't need as many groceries, and vice versa. So I'm going to budget $200 for food this week. That'll pay for our groceries, our eating out, as well as any household items. I always go back and forth between whether I want to include the household items in the food budget or if I want to have a separate sinking fund for that. It makes sense to have it included in the food budget because I'm shopping for those things at the same time as my groceries. Whether or not $200 will be enough to buy our groceries and our household items, I don't know. Prices have gone so high for everything, but we're going to try it out this week and see. Personal finance is personal. You can change your mind. I write a new budget every week, so this is only a 1-week commitment. I can handle that. All right, next up we have my husband's spending. The way that we handle our spending money is rather than having my husband just swipe his debit card or his credit card for everything and then me having to chase him around and ask him for receipts all the time and try to figure out why he spent $6 there and where the $4 went, I just give him his cash at the start of the week. He spends it. I can write it out of my budget really easily, and then I don't have to bug him about where he's spending money. He doesn't have to answer to me. I'm not his mom, after all, so that works out really well for us. We discussed quite a long time ago how much money he needed to get through each week, and he decided on $40. So that's what I give him. I pull out $40 in cash, hand it over to him. He does whatever he wants with it. I don't ask. I don't care what he does with it. he can throw it out the window for all I care. That's what I always say. Just so long as he doesn't come back wanting more money. Okay, so next up then we have my spending money, and much like my husband, I also am going to get $40. Sometimes I keep the $40 in the bank, so I write it here in this bills section because I do a lot of online shopping. This week I decided to take it in cash. We'll see what I get up to with that. Next we have my son, Austin, who is 13. He has some chores around the house that he can do to earn an allowance, so we're going to pull that $20 out of the bank so that I have it and I can give it to him provided he does his chores. Next is lawn care. We pay someone to cut our grass. It's 20 bucks. I could do it myself, but quite frankly, I don't want to. It's hot. My boys could do it, but they're busy, so we just pay somebody to do it, and everybody wins that way. Lastly, we have miscellaneous. This is just a miscellaneous 20 I stick in my wallet to have on hand for anything else that comes up throughout the week that we might need cash for that I didn't think to budget for. So if we have a toll we have to pay, or parking we have to pay, or maybe we're $20 over in food, I can pull that 20 for that. It's really just miscellaneous, as it says. That's all of our cash envelopes, so let's add that up. 200 for food, 40 plus 40 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20 for a total of $340 in our cash envelopes. Next up, we have sinking funds. And if you watched my sinking funds overhaul video, boy did I get some mixed feelings and mixed comments on that video. Some of you were like, yes, I'm all for minimizing things, making things simple. Others of you were like, I think this is a bad idea, or at least that's what you said in not so many of those words. Aren't you worried about this? Wait, maybe you shouldn't do that. If you missed that video, go check it out. So far, I'm really liking having fewer sinking funds. And like I said, the thing is, I write a budget out every single week. So if I change my mind and I decide that it's not working for me, I can change it up. For now, I'm loving it. The other thing I said in that video was I was going to try to add money to every single one of my sinking funds every single week. That's the beauty of having fewer funds. I could afford to do that, even if it was just $1 to each one. On weeks when the budget is tight, it's a little bit tough, I'm not going to lie, but we are going to add money to all of my sinking funds today, even though it's not nearly as much as I would like. So we're going to start out with, actually, you know what? Because this video is so long, let's do this. I'm going to write sinking funds in here, and I'm going to let you know that we're going to put $190 into sinking funds, but I'm not going to tell you what funds are getting what. You'll have to come back tomorrow and check out my cash envelope stuffing video. I'll break it down there. That'll make this video a little bit shorter. Plus, I'm not sure I even have enough lines to put in all of my sinking funds into this printable, which was another reason why I decided to make my own printable. So just know we're going to put $190 into sinking funds and come back tomorrow to see which funds are getting what. All right, now we have extra debt. Again, I would love to put a ton of money towards the credit card we're currently working on, which, if you missed my debt snowball update, is now a Lowe's card. We didn't pay off our Walmart card. We decided to pivot and change things up a little bit for July. Again, go check out that video if you missed it. Lots of great videos went up on my channel last week while I was away. We decided to pivot and pay towards our Lowe's card for a while. So that's the card that we're paying extra to. And I mentioned in that video that I was not going to set a debt snowball amount that I was going to pay towards this card. I was just going to pay what I could afford to pay. And this week, that's 50 bucks. It's not a lot. I wish it were more, but you know, when you have a short paycheck, you got to do what you got to do. So Lowe's is going to get 50 bucks. I'm thrilled to be able to send anything at all. It's $50 more than we were paying back before we started this debt-free journey, right? I keep telling myself that even $1 paid extra is $1 more than nothing. So I'm happy with that. And our extra debt total is going to be $50. Very last category we have here is extra savings. And for our extra savings, this is a little bit different than your average, I think. I think a lot of people that do a zero-based budget will take anything that they have left over at the end of the week and just stick it into a savings account to sit there and be saved for a rainy day, or maybe they're doing a savings challenge or whatever. For us, this is our rollover money. So as I mentioned, my husband is paid based on commission, so his paychecks fluctuate a lot. Sometimes his paychecks are large, sometimes they're puny, and of course that's all relative, right? But we roll money over week to week so that we have money to pull from when the paychecks are short. A lot of what we used for this budget, well, not a lot, some of what we used for this budget was rollover money. And so even though we didn't have a whole heck of a lot of money to work with this week, we still want to roll over a little something so that we have it in case we need it next week. So I'm not going to write in how much we're going to roll over because I don't disclose my husband's income. I just leave the rollover amount blank. That way it's, you know, you can't add everything up and see exactly how much my husband made with his paycheck, right? So we're just going to leave the rollover blank. I'll fill that in on my own time, but just know that we're going to roll some money over into next week. All right, friends, so that is it for my budget for the week. I'm so excited to be back filming videos in real time for you guys. So excited for July. You guys know, if you watched my June budget videos, that June was a hot mess and I was over budget in major areas in my budget, and so I'm so excited for a fresh start in July. Even though we're already starting July with a little bit less money than what I would like, we're making it work. That is kind of the theme of budgeting for me. We make it work. Before I started budgeting, the sinking funds thing would never have happened. This extra debt thing would never have happened. That extra, $240 that I had would have just been spent. So even if we're working with less money than usual, even if I'm beating myself up for not being able to make the numbers work quite the way I want to, I'm still leaps and bounds ahead of where I used to be, and I'm okay with that. I'm proud of that. That's what matters. Progress is progress. All right, friends, that's it. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave it a big thumbs up. That helps out my channel so much. I cannot express. Every time you interact with my video, like, comment, share, it really helps YouTube to see that you like that sort of content, and then YouTube will therefore pump my content out to other people. I'm always trying to gain new subscribers, so that really helps me out. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, y'all.